there guys, this is Malorian, and this is actually going to be a fantasy video. So what I'm going to be talking about is the end of the end times. Now, what the end times is the most current campaign that GW is running. Now, they've ran lots of campaigns over the years, but this one has got to be the biggest one they've ever ran. In the past, some of them would be big and we're like, okay, wow, whatever happens in this campaign is going to change the dynamics of the armies, or you're going to be getting different magic items and stuff like this. But for the most part, things don't change in GW, right? In that mythos, in their lore, these borders will pretty much exist for the whole time. These special characters will live forever. It's just really rewriting the fluff to add in new units as you go. There's not really a progression of the fluff. I mean, they used to do that, and then they scaled it back and locked it down and say, you know what, we're just going to do this forever. And then the end times happen, and things just go crazy. Basically, you know, Nagash comes back to life, and characters, special characters who've been with the game forever start dying, and all of a sudden there's these big things of oh wow, this person is actually the baby of this, and blah blah blah. Like it was insane how far they move the fluff. I mean, normally you'd expect it with every book or campaign, a little jump, and like I said, it was nothing, whoosh, gone, and it's just going to the end times. Things are going crazy. Well, this is now built up to the point where now in the latest book, it is just the absolute end. Looking at the spoiler they had there, basically it's like, you know how in the end of the never-ending story where there's like the whole world is destroyed and it's just like, you know, nothingness and just like maybe like a little glimmer of humanity on like one little thing here, you know, that's basically it. Like everything is destroyed, the whole world is exploded and torn apart in reality, and like even the chaos gods are bored and walk away, and there's just like a little glimmer of humanity left. That's all there is. And so this is very, very interesting. The whole question here is, why is GW doing this? Why did GW just go wee and just, like I said, throw this so far forward? Now, part of this too, there's been a lot, that's the fluff side of it. Let's talk about the rule side for Warhammer Fantasy. Now, there's been a time here where people have been not too happy with GW because of the rules. And especially when it got more into the end times, they really gave a lot more freedoms, where all of a sudden at first, oh, okay, now you get to combine the two undead armies, take whatever you want there. Oh, here's these new special characters that let you take new magic. Then all of a sudden you can get 50% in your heroes and lords. Now it's just take whatever you want. You know, it's just crazy open the doors, and of course there's just no control. There's no limit, no balance. The only balance really is that, hey, if everybody can take whatever they want, my anything is equal to your anything, right? We both have the same abilities. So, you know, but really, again, why did GW do this where they're just destroying everything? Well, there's a couple theories. One of them is that they're trying to now change the fluff so that whereas before they had to kind of like really try and think these things out, and when they're trying to add in new units like the Ragnarok, it's like, oh yeah, these have been in the forest forever, and there's like these goblin tribes, you know, like they've been trying to force things in, and the fluff has actually been like a restraint to them. Well, one idea is that if you destroy the world and there's these bubbles of reality, that means you can do whatever you want. That means that, hey, why are the lizardmen who are just living on this island here fighting with the wood elves who live way over here, and they both don't even want to interact? Well, it's because their bubbles of reality came together, right? All of a sudden it makes it way more easier. It's like, whoa, where'd this new unit come from? It's from a different bubble of reality, right? So there's one idea, that it's for the ease of GW to get in whatever they want. The second theory is more rules-wise, where it's saying, okay, you know what? GW just wants to throw up their hands as far as the rules go, and say, you know what, guys, just take whatever you want, because this game is supposed to be for fun. It's not supposed to be a game for tournaments. It's supposed to be a game of just like, hey, it's fun, it's fantasy. Here is the everything. There's literally everything. Take whatever you want, design whatever battle you want, and just have fun. And there's that idea then too. I like to think of this as another one, because if you look at those other things, with the 9th edition coming up, it's actually a bad thing. You're like, oh god, 9th is going to come, it's going to have all these rules, because whereas before you're like, okay, it's a campaign rule, it's a lot easier to say we're not going to be using cane magic and stuff like this. If it comes to 9th and they say, well, no, this is just how the game works, I mean, you can always, as a tournament organizer or as a club, decide not to do it, but it's theirs. Like, this is the rules now. So what are you going to do with this? And so a lot of people, it's doom and gloom and all this. To me, I'm actually hoping this will be something different. And my comparison that I'm hoping this will be like is the new 52 that DC did. Now, GW is having trouble with sales and people are losing interest and blah, blah, blah. And DC Comics had the same thing. You know, their storylines had gotten too complicated. They weren't bringing in a lot more of new watchers because, hey, if I want to get into a comic, I have to read back all these things to even know what's going on. It's too complicated. You know, sales are just going down. So what they did is brought in the new 52, which is really like, okay, you know, everything that's going on with Batman and Superman and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, screw that. This is starting over. We are starting over. If you want to be a brand new person coming into this game, to this comic series rather, this is the time to start because you don't need to read anything. We are completely restarting now. And for you guys who've already read this stuff, don't worry, because we're also going to change it. It's going to be a little bit different. And so I'm really hoping this is what's going to be for GW. They really just opened it up. It's like, all right, let's get crazy, guys. Let's have lots of fun. And maybe even just kind of realize that taking whatever you want is kind of fun. But, okay, you do lose that control. Now let's rein it back in and start over again. You know all that stuff about, you know, Manfred and blah, blah, blah. We're going to restart this all right from the very beginning. We'll get to the right spot where there's the double-tailed comet and, what is it? I want to call him Signar, but I know Sigmar, I believe, is the term. I'm not an Empire player. I mean, I'm an Orc and Goblin player. Ask me what Orc and Goblin things. But anyway, let's start from the very start. We're going to have these special characters. We'll start the timeline here. We'll even change some things as we go through the timeline to make it a little bit different. And the rules-wise, we're now going to rein this back in. We'll change the rules to be whatever we want it to be so it's more competitive. You know, this is a spot where GW can really just change everything. They have literally destroyed the world. They have taken their entire game system that they had before and said, you know what? Everything's dead. Just everything's dead. Everything's destroyed. There you go. Hands are clean. And now that's the perfect excuse to have to take that next step and say, okay, now this is the new reality. This is the new restart. I mean, and that's when I read that fluff where there's this little spark of humanity left. That's the spot where things can start again. The Chaos Gods are gone. And it's almost like it was before, right? Because in the very beginning, the Chaos Gods weren't all over the place. They were able to really kind of like grow, and the whole age of man growing up and man working with elves and dwarves. And then, of course, the chaos coming in and the gates that the elves built. Like, all this can start again, and it can be fresh, and it can be new. They can draw in lots of new players. Whether they're going to be taking this to change the game completely to the point where all of a sudden it is a skirmish game, not so much a block game. Who knows what they're going to do with that? But to me, the main thing I'm trying to get across here is that this could be a very good thing. 9th could be amazing. And for those who are wondering, I am going to be doing a review of 9th when it comes out. I am big time into War Machine now, but I still have my eyes on fantasy and what they're going to do with 9th. And I think this will be a really big make or break it thing for GW. They have a lot of competition. There's a lot of questions around GW and their games. And this will really be a thing saying, okay, will fantasy survive? Or is fantasy basically now they're just washing their hands of it, right? Which is the other thing that's, maybe they're destroying the world just to say like, okay, now we're done with fantasy, we're gonna focus on 40k. I really hope that's not it, and we won't know until we really have 9th in hand. But either way, there you go. Thanks for watching.